We're going to do that part. This is part of that Abana curriculum. This is the second part of it. But in the meantime, the beginning of that, part of that is the very tip of it is the forge weld on there. So I was going to do a couple of quick demos on the forge welding for anybody that wanted to see that. One would be the vacuum welder, which this is, which is a weird word for it. But now, okay, I see what I need to do. I have to think this stuff through. I'm going to. What I was doing there was upsetting this end where I'm going to forge weld it, but it's a lap weld. On that end would be a lap weld. I'm just going to cool it off. This end, we've done this before. When most of you have done this in the green coal class, is the bagging weld. When you just roll, you fold the bar over on itself and weld it. So that's what this is going to be, but it's kind of a double bagging weld. Who hasn't seen this? Y'all haven't seen this in a lot of you haven't. Okay. I'll do it quick. But I was just wanting to point out some of the things that you look for when you try to weld these things. First thing I do is heat this up and just bend it over on itself and then weld it. I upset this. I'll talk about this other end. I'll do that on the other side in just a second. I got some of that coal from John Paraloo. It's not very good. It cleans up too much. But what I do like about it is it'll cave. It'll make a cave. You know, what's the word, Stacy? It coats up is what it does. It coats up and it solidifies it and makes it. Fire and get it to take it up to heat. But what they're saying is leave it in the fire, use a long spoon. Because what happens is when the idea of the flux is to prevent the scale that forms on here, the scale as you see it turning right now, forming, it prevents the scale from preventing the forge to get in the way. So the flux blows the scale that you may have. Blows any of the scale that you may have out of the way so you can clean a weld. So what he was saying, and it made sense, was that and I tried it and it actually works, but you don't see the scale forming on this until you take it out of the heat and it starts to cool. That's when you'll actually see the scale forming. I'm doing it the old way. I got it. It's hot. It's scaling up. I'm putting the flux on it. But he'll take the long spoon while it's in there at forging temperature, just before it gets to forging temperature, and then fluxes it in there. And he says it doesn't. The flux doesn't burn up, but there's no. It doesn't have as long to burn up like it will here. But it. And when you're pulling this iron out to flux it, the scale is forming on it as it's cooling. And you can actually, I've never paid attention to it, but you can actually see it happen. So it makes sense to clear you out a spot in there, get this to a forging temperature or a welding temperature, and then or close to it, and then put the flux on right at the end and then take it out. So now, one of the things I like about this, Brian Brazil showed me this a long time ago. He could be at the end of the, he could be at the other end of the shop. He looked back and says it's ready. But can you see the orange flames in the middle of here, where it's starting to turn to orange? That's the first indication that you're coming to a welding heat. And what you want to come over here, y'all come over here and look at this. Take a look at this right now, while we can. Come on where you can see it. Come on. Come on, 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 come on. All right, now y'all, all right. I'm not going to make another word till y'all get your butts up here where you can see into this fire and see what I'm talking about. Okay, now if you look at the iron in here, it is becoming let me get this out of the way. You can see the iron in there, it's becoming the color of the fire. And once it disappears, it's a little bit darker than the fire, but once it goes from here, you see the orange in there. This is actually at a forging temperature. When you see the orange in there, and then this has become, now what I wait for, and now you can see it's disappeared in the fire. Okay, now next thing you're going to see is sparks because it is past ready. Now you can back up. Hurry, you better get back quick. Okay. All right, now the first time that you hit this thing, the first time that you hit it, you don't want to hit it hard. You're just setting it. And then I'll go back and do it. And a lot of times, if you do hit it hard, you set it, then hit it hard. You can probably work it then. But I always do it a second time. I make sure that I've got it welded in there, and I do it the second time. I do the same thing. I let it disappear in the fire. And Lon was asking about that. I don't know why they call it a faggot weld, but it just folds over on itself. I have no idea what that. And a faggot was a flame. Is a coal, a burning coal, or something burning in a fire, isn't it? Wasn't it? What?
A bundle of
sticks. Ah. Okay. Cool. All right. Here comes the sparks again. So now. And see, now that it's set, now I can go, if I'd have hit it on the side after the first one, it would have slid and it would have broken any welding that it's done. But now you can actually take this thing and make it disappear. Now this is, I'll show you something here. This is going to be, I forgot it, this is going to be a good example of what goes next. All right, so that's just a simple, easy weld right there. The key is the temperature of the iron. You want it to soak long enough where it's not still cool in the center. You want to be soaked all the way through. Take it to I always take it up to where it disappears just beyond where it disappears in the fire. As soon as it disappears in there, it's going to start turning white, and then as soon as you see the sparks, you've gone a little bit too far. But it's a guarantee. And when you see the sparks, you burn some of the carbon out of the iron. If you're trying to do something real clean, you may be a little bit pitted. But if you want to make sure that you got a weld going on, then you take it to where you see the first sparks. Get it out here quick. You want to be in this position essentially. You take it out here. You get here. You have this in the fire the way you know when you bring it out. You set it. You know how you're going to set it. It's holding up like that. When I come out here, I want it on the iron just like that. And then you don't want to waste any time, because as soon as you lay this thing down on the iron, on the anvil, it starts drawing that heat out of it quick. So Now on this end, I'm going to show you what I've done on here. The reason there's a reason for upsetting this on the end. Now I'm going to try to do what they call a lap weld, where you're taking these two pieces of iron and welding them together. That's how they used to do it. They didn't have the welding machines. And what I'm doing to begin with, and I'll show you what I did earlier, was upset the end of the bar. You see how it's fatter up there. Upsetting is you're driving the material back into itself to thicken it up. You see the difference in the shape. The reason for that is if you're trying to make a forge weld, if you don't upset it, which gives you more material to work with to hammer it into itself back down to the original size. So what you've given yourself extra material to hammer, to weld, to take it, but you don't want to go past the original, like this half-inch bar. You want to stay. You don't want to go past that. Otherwise, your bar is going to go like this. Now, in this case, where's your pen? Can I borrow it, just the bottom of this for a second? Okay. All right, over here. What I'm going to do is scarf this at the end. You've got your bar, and I never could draw. And what I'm going to do is take. Let's see, how does it go? All right, it's going to go here, and then it's going to go up. It's going to go up like that, and it's going to go out like this and come across. All right, I'm going to scarf it like that. The reason being that both ends of those are going to be scarfed that way, so that way it folds over on top of each one. You've got material on top of the other bar. This other bar would be the opposite. This lip will be over here. And so that way you've got the material overlapped so that you can forge weld it together. Thanks. So the first thing I'm going to do is this scarf here. No, it's not the first thing we're going to do. I'm sorry. It's going to upset the end of it. And I'll take it like this. If you lay it on there like this, the anvil's going to pull the heat out of it quickly. So if I pulled it up and just bring it up and turn it, because you and you can already see how much, just that little bit, how much that did. And sharp blows, you can upset it this way too. You can go in here. You can go into here even. And if that's not enough, it's too bad. Oh, this one's hot. It's See, a little easier over a sharper edge, but hey, this doesn't have any sharp edges on it. So I'm going to take this on the edge, very lightly on the barely on the edge there, and hammer it into itself. Let me heat it up some more. I've created, I didn't mean to do that, but I did it. I have never ever done a demo without screwing something up. This is a big screw up too. I'm going to play it like it is. I'm going to see what happens. I'm going to do it one more time on this thing. It's, as long as you don't burn it up, iron's pretty forgiving. And I really believe I can put this thing together again. Which, saying something like that's the kiss of death. But I've died on these things before, so what the heck? It's another time. It's more of a lift than I anticipated, than I wanted, but one of the things, the reasons that you'll taper this thing thin, because when the other one's on there, if this is a thick piece of iron, you won't be able to get rid of that. But by thinning it out, it'll blend in if it's done correctly, if somebody knew what they were doing. Typical day in the shop. Oh, that's what I was going to point out. This the reason I tapered this in was because if it's the same width as the 1/2-inch iron here, if it's the same width and you hammer it out, it's going to flare out. It's going to fall over the sides. It's going to stick out on the top. Then you got to hammer it back in. If you do the taper that, you don't have to deal with that.
No, it's just crappy.
And we paid good core prices for that dust, right?
Our supplier, we use it for
Oh, snakes.
and we're trying to find it.
And see, I overcompensated on that, so I've got a thick end.
And this looks like a good deal.
That would filter all the dust out.
All right, I'm gonna do me a favor. Hammer that down on it. One of you just hammer straight down on it. All right. That's closer. There's a gap in here, but that's okay. It's amazing what you can get away with. Thanks. So I'm going to heat this up, clean it off, flux it, and then well, I'll talk about that when we get to it. I'm not even going to tell you what I just saw. So I'm putting the flux on it now. I'm going to show you, you know when I did that double lip, when I messed it up over there, there's a, you can see how that lip, how it's cracked? It was a duck lips and I tried to get rid of it, but it's still showing up big time right now.
So is that a crack or a cold shut?
It was duck lips. It's a cold shut.
Go with it or cut it off?
Oh, I go with these things. If I don't screw up a demo, I haven't done a demo.
Well, when you get that flux weld done and it's all nice and clean, there'll be some element in there and people will go, you do that?
All right, now this is when you try to do something like this, this is kind of key. Like I said earlier, you want to grab it. You want to know what position it's in so that when you grab it, you're ready to hit. Well, when I come out of here, I want to do the same thing. Now, the goal here is, this is where that thing called drop forging, I think. But I'm going to put these things together like this right here. I keep it up so it's not drawing the heat out too much. And then I set it here like that, and then I let go of it, hopefully, and grab the hammer and ideally. What's that?
I want to get your hammer a little closer.
Oh yeah. I mean, y'all are learning how to deal with an old guy. You know, I really like this. Yeah. This getting old is not for the faint of heart. I keep telling people I can wake up in a new world every few minutes, and sometimes it's entertaining. Now, the important thing here is to have both of these at the welding temperature, you know. And I believe we're there because I've got the sparks. So let's see what happens. Up. All right. It did not work. Yeah, well, that's all right. I mean, this isn't the first time this thing hadn't worked.
That's how I cheat. I get my 9-year-old out there because she can't hit that hard.
She's your apprentice.
She can't hit that hard anyway, so she can stay at it.
She's your apprentice. And she's like, cool,
Oh, she loves it. Hey, you think you can't board weld? My 9-year-old can board weld a fire poker already by herself.
That's cool. Yeah, I got my grandson at 9 in the fourth.